I'm a superstar. Cause all around the world, they know who we are. Running behind that money, got me missing my bed. Chasing after that paper, I'm sleeping up there.
Yo, welcome back to my channel. Before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, man. You ain't got like, you ain't got a comment, but I do appreciate it if you did sub and if you're new. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about Attack on Titan anime original ending, but in particular, I'm going to be explaining when will the anime start to change. Now, it's been a couple of times when I've seen this type of comment under my videos, basically saying, yo, try hard, you're giving us all this proof that it's a big possibility that Attack on Titan can have an anime original ending. You're making all these different types of connections, you're making everything make sense. But when should we see the anime start to change? Basically, if the different timeline theory is correct, the story of Attack on Titan being broken down into 3 different timelines, which could be considered as 3 different parts to the story of Attack on Titan. The first part being the See Later timeline, where Eren is able to accomplish one of his goals, which is to be with Mikasa, but also Mikasa is able to accomplish her wish, which is to be with Eren to the very end. The second part, which would be the manga timeline, where Eren is able to accomplish another one of his goals, which is to have his friends live long lives, but this time Armin is able to accomplish his wish, which is to be granted the time to be able to end the cycle of hatred through peace and understanding. But then you have the third part to the story of Attack on Titan, which is the anime timeline, where Eren should be able to achieve freedom and also achieve his wish. And if you think about it, that could be the real reason why we have 3 main characters and also 3 different timelines for the story of Attack on Titan. In each different timeline, you're going to have one of the 3 main characters achieve their wish. And like I said, the anime timeline should be Eren's turn to achieve his. So if the different timeline theory is correct, which I truly believe it is, then when should the anime timeline diverge from the manga timeline and become its own thing? Now, the reason why I try to avoid replying to those type of comments is because, first of all, I don't want to give a bullshit ass answer. Second of all, because I don't know. Because of the fact that Isayama has stepped back into unpredictable territory. I remember when Attack on Titan was at its peak, and I was making theory video after theory video, prediction video after prediction video, and at the end of each theory and prediction video, I would say one thing: I can be completely wrong about all this shit. It doesn't matter how much I try to predict this motherfucker's next move, and sometimes I am able to predict Isayama's next move, but somehow, in some way, Isayama always end up doing something that catches me off guard, something that's unpredictable. But this time, I truly feel like I got him, but at the same time, I feel like this motherfucker got me. Like, I am 100% sure that we're going to get a different ending. But when you are fucking with somebody like Isayama, this shit is really 50-50. Because he's just that unpredictable. We very well could get a different ending for the anime, but we might get an ending for the anime that we didn't think we could get. I truly feel like Isayama is capable of catching the people that's like me who did predict that he will do a different ending for the anime off guard. But at the same time, also catch the people that didn't think that we could get a different ending for the anime off guard as well. So when it comes to when the anime timeline will diverge from the manga timeline and become its own thing, it's kind of tricky, especially fucking with somebody like Isayama, because he can do this at any moment. He can make Eren do something that is so different that will cause the anime to go into a different direction than what the manga did. And like I said, if the different timeline theory is correct, that means that the anime timeline should at some point diverge from the manga timeline and become its own thing. So let's figure this out. And in order to figure this out, we have to look at the story of Attack on Titan from a different perspective. Like I said in my last video, specifically the video of me explaining the time loop and also explaining that it's a big possibility that Mikasa can die in this anime original ending because she is in control of the time loop. And if Eren wants to win, then something big has to happen to the character of Mikasa, because all she has to do is say see you later and boom, Eren gets sent back to the very beginning of the story, not remembering anything that happened in the previous loop. And the fact that Eren does wake up in these different timelines, not remembering what happened in the previous loop, that lets us know that the story is supposed to be just like the previous loop up to a certain point where Eren has to make a different choice that will cause the story to go into a different direction than what the previous loop did. And that would explain why the anime timeline is so much like the manga timeline, is because of the fact that Eren wants all this shit to happen again. Because in the manga timeline, he got really far. He damn near fucking won. So it would make a lot of sense on why Eren wants all this shit to happen again up to a certain point. Like I said in the past, the fact that Eren in the manga has to go back in time him and make Grisha take the power, that does not benefit him because he already lived through that. Manga Eren was already set up to receive the power. So him making Grisha take the power does not really benefit him, but it does benefit him if he knows that he is going to end up doing all this shit again. So therefore he had to set himself up. So what Manga Eren actually did was set Anime Eren up. Basically, Manga Eren created the anime timeline, and that's why when he did get to the paths in the manga, he had to kill his mother again. Him doing that does not benefit him at all because he already lived through that situation. So if he wants all this shit to happen, it would make sense why he has to set all that shit up again. But like I was saying, the way how I was able to figure out that Attack on Titan has a time loop, the reason behind Attack on Titan having a time loop, and how Eren can break out of this time loop, I had to look at the story of Attack on Titan from a different perspective in order to understand the story a lot more better. Using the game that Isayama got heavily inspired to create Attack on Titan, which is called Mother of Love Alternative. And recently I also explained that Isayama got inspired by the game called Life is Strange as well. And these are two games that has alternate endings to them. And I find it funny that Isayama would create his own story off of these games that has alternate endings, but his own fucking story itself doesn't have an alternate ending. I find that kind of funny. And when I mean by funny, I mean fucking stupid. And if you think about it, Eren is in the same situation that the main character from the game called Life is Strange is in. The main character from the game called Life is Strange has to make a choice to either sacrifice her friend to save the town or sacrifice the town in order to save her friend. If you think about it, that's what Eren did in the manga. Eren chose to not sacrifice his friends, and Paradise Island got sacrificed instead. But if the anime ends up being the alternative route of the manga, that means that Eren should do the opposite of that, which is to sacrifice his friends in order to protect Paradise Island. To be honest, that's probably where Isayama got his ending from, which is the game called Life is Strange, because the main character from that game is literally in the same situation that Eren is in. Or I would say that Eren is in the same situation that the main character from the game called Life is Strange is in. Now, to this day, people still don't believe that Eren is capable of killing his friends at all. But what people fail to realize is that Eren already did this. He did this in the first timeline. Eren said, fuck my friends, fuck Historia, fuck her family, fuck my family. I'm going with Mikasa. And I'm pretty sure in that first timeline, because of the fact that Eren chose to do that, everybody fucking died in that timeline, which is why Eren Kruger warns Grisha, but also warns Eren himself to see his mission through. If he wants to save Mikasa and Armin, he has to see his mission through. That's probably where that whole situation even came from, because of the fact that Eren gave up in the first timeline. So him doing what he did in the first timeline, he indirectly killed his friends, which is what he should do in the third timeline. I think when people hear that we want Eren to kill his friends, I think what people actually hear is that we want Eren to eat these motherfuckers alive or some shit like that. Like, no, his friends need to die trying to stop him. Just like how Hanji tried to stop the Colossal Titans, he indirectly killed this bitch. But if we are talking about Eren directly killing his friends, no, he would never be capable of doing that. But indirectly is another thing, because he's been doing that throughout the whole entire story of Attack on Titan. So in order to figure out when the anime timeline will diverge from the manga timeline and become its own thing, we have to look at Attack on Titan from a different perspective. The perspective of the games that Isayama got inspired to create his story off of, games like Mother of Love and Life is Strange. Those type of games have a system where the choices that you make dramatically affects the characters within the story itself, and the ending in a good or bad way. But those type of games also have a system within that system that separates the important choices that has an effect on the direction that the story can go in from the non-important choices that you can make that has little to no effect on the direction the story can go in. And this type of system can be seen as anything, as long as it notifies you and lets you know that this is one of those important choices that's going to cause the story to go into a different direction. This is also called the butterfly effect. In the game Life is Strange, a butterfly would be shown to notify the player that this is one of those important choices that's going to cause the story to go into a different direction. And we all know that we did see a butterfly in the story of Attack on Titan. To be honest, Mikasa's OVA is probably heavily inspired by the game Life is Strange. Now keep all of this in mind. I made a video a month or two ago ago of me explaining all the times that Eren and Ymir has influenced the story of Attack on Titan. Now, we can look at all of those influences that Eren has done as choices that Eren had to make. Now, some of these influences that Eren has done is very important, because if he didn't, then the story would have gone in a different direction, a direction that Eren doesn't want the story to go into. But Eren has done influences that has little to no effect on the direction that the story can go in. One of these important influences that Eren has made is Eren Kruger warning Grisha and also teenage Eren to see their mission through in order to save Mikasa and Armin. If Eren Yeager did not influence that moment, then the story would have gone in a different direction. Another example is Eren controlling Dinah to eat his mother. If Eren did not influence that moment, then the story would have gone in a different direction. Another example is Eren influencing his kid self to go and find Mikasa after she was kidnapped. If he would have never done that, then the story would have gone in a different direction. Another example is Eren forcing Grisha to take the power of the founder. If he would have never done that, then the story would have gone in a different direction. Another example is Eren controlling Dinah to allow his teenage self to come in contact with the power of the founder. If he would have never done that, then the story would have gone in a different direction. And you know all about that if you watch my video that I made of me predicting that Eren killed his mother a very long time ago. But the last important influence that I know of is what Ymir did, which is control that Titan to save Zeke. If she would have never done that, the story would have gone in a different direction. But like I said earlier in the video, Eren has also influenced moments that has little to no effect on the direction that the story can go in. One example is the Berserk Eren. Even if Eren did not influence that moment, Annie still would have lost. Another example is Falco's memories. Eren doing that does not change the direction of the story. Another example is Eren using his power of the Titans to control the birds to keep a close eye on Historia. We all know that's not what he does in the manga, but him doing that is a part of his future memories, which I think is future memories of the anime timeline, because that situation is only shown in the anime, but shown in the manga as future memories. But those small influences that Eren has done can also lead to Eren making a big influence that's going to make the story diverge from the manga timeline and become its own thing. Now, the thing is that Eren can influence the story all he wants, but at the end of the day, Eren needs help from a little something called free will to be able to influence all of these situations. Now, free will is tricky because even if you are a slave to something, you're still using your free will to remain a slave. So it's not really like you're being controlled to do anything. What it really is that you're doing it because you want to, or because of the fact that you cannot do anything else. You see this with Eren, Ymir, and Mikasa. King Fritz gave Ymir her freedom. This dumb bitch chose to go back. Even when she was transported to the past, she chose to remain a slave because that's what she wanted to do. It's the same thing with Eren. Eren is being controlled, but at the same time, he's doing exactly what the fuck he wanted to do. And that's why he said, even if I didn't have future memories of you stopping me, I still would have destroyed the world because this is what I wanted to do. And that's why he says, I'm free. Everything that I do is out of my own free will. I do this shit because I want to do this shit. I want to remain a slave to this path. And also because I have no choice. It's nothing else that I can do. And it's the same thing with Mikasa. She can choose to protect Eren or not whenever she wants. So whatever Mikasa does is because she wants to do it. Right? Now, the reason why I know for a fact that Eren needs help from a little something called free will to be able to influence these situations is because, for an example, Eren cannot control Dinah to eat his mother without Reiner's free will to break down the wall. And that's why Eren still confronts Reiner, even though he knows that he's the one that killed his mother, he still confronts Reiner about breaking down the wall because Reiner made that choice out of his own free will. So what are we getting from me saying all of this? Basically, in order for Eren to make the anime timeline diverge from the manga timeline and become its own thing, Eren needs to do a very important influence, but he also needs help from something called free will. Now, all this falls back on Mikasa motherfucking Ackerman and her choice. It's a reason why her choice is so fucking important, and it's because she is the divergence. Whatever Mikasa's choice is, it's going to make Eren go into a different direction. Her choice is going to cause the anime timeline to diverge from the manga timeline and become its own thing. And of course, with the help of Eren. Now, we already seen how Mikasa's choice dramatically affects the story and Eren himself. In the very first timeline, she makes the choice to express her feelings and tell Eren that we need to run away together and live out your last 4 years. This makes Eren go in the direction of the see you later timeline. But in the manga, she chooses to say that we're family, and the conversation ends up getting interrupted. This causes Eren to go in the manga direction. But in the anime, if the anime is truly the alternate route of the manga timeline, then Mikasa has to say something different than what she said in the manga. But nothing too different that's going to cause the anime timeline to completely diverge from the manga timeline because it's not time yet. We have to keep in mind that this is a time loop, and Eren wants everything to happen the same way like how it happened in the manga, up to a certain point. Now, Mikasa's choice on what she says to Eren after he asks her, "What am I to you?" in the anime, could prep the anime timeline to then be diverged from the manga timeline later on in the story. And you never know, we already could be seeing the results of Mikasa's choice because of the fact that Falco's memories are different, and because of the fact that Eren is checking up on Historia through Via of the Birds. And we all know, according to the leaks, we're going to have additional content in the Paths arc. And also, according to what Isayama said in his interview with Demetrius Johnson, he said that it's going to be anime-only content for Ymir. Like I said, we can already be seeing the results of Mikasa's choice. Now, Mikasa's choice on how she responds to Eren's question in the anime is just the first part of the divergence. But the second part is Mikasa's choice to kill Eren or not. And we all know that that situation was influenced by Eren because of the fact that he created that dream sequence in chapter 138, which is actually just the first timeline. That gave Mikasa the motivation to make the choice to kill Eren. Now, this is where the beginning of the story in the anime comes into play, in the way how Eren wakes up under the tree. Because of the fact that Eren wakes up in this different timeline without Mikasa saying "see you later," that could mean that dream sequence in chapter 138 could be different. Like I said, Eren has a future memory of Mikasa crying and smiling in front of him. This could be that new dream sequence that's going to motivate Mikasa to not kill Eren, but this time kill herself. Now, the reason why Mikasa dying makes so much fucking sense is because Mikasa dying is the only way to free her, because if she dies, she's never going to be able to think of Eren, which is going to cause the time loop to stop. She even says it herself, "I cannot die because I will never be able to think of you." So the only way to fucking free this dumb bitch is to kill her. Mikasa dying will give Eren the signal to make the anime timeline completely diverge from the manga timeline. And all that Mappa has to do is change the last 2 chapters for Attack on Titan. Instead of Eren being the one that's going to die, Mikasa is going to die. Instead of Mikasa being the one that's going to create the family, Eren will be the one that's going to create the family. Instead of Paradise Island getting destroyed, Paradise Island will be free. Instead of Ymir watching Mikasa and Eren kiss, she's going to watch Eren and Historia kiss. And that happening was already foreshadowed in her backstory. Man, like, this shit makes a lot of fucking sense. Mappa doesn't have to retcon the whole entire Rumbling arc. All that Mappa has to do is change the last 2 chapters. And if we are getting a movie, that means that we're not going to be able to see AoE until the very end of the fucking movie. But this is the end of the video. You ain't got to like, you ain't got to comment, but I do appreciate it if you just sub and if you're new, and I'm out, bro.